The Carmichael Coal Project is a proposed coal mine site in central Queensland that includes the development of a 180-kilometre-long railway and the development of a new port for international coal exports. The project is expected to produce 60 million tonnes of coal per annum for a mining life of 60 years. With such a massive project, there are some critical environmental concerns to consider.
One big concern about the Carmichael coal mine is the predicted water consumption during the construction and operation of the mine. When the mine is under operation, it is expected to use 12 billion litres of water each year. More than 60% of this water will be taken from local water sources and groundwater. This will have a big effect on both local towns and landholders. The majority of the water bores in the area are expected to be increasingly unusable, and there will be a big groundwater drawdown. There has been researches on already existing mines that shows that the soil construction and the soil microbial community around the coal mine gets affected not just during the operation of the mine but generations after too. This has a negative effect on agriculture in the surrounding areas. By using engineering solutions for monitoring to detect changes in groundwater, changes can be made in an early stage, and if there is a big drawdown on the groundwater, they have to find another water source.
The largest environmental problems facing any mine site is its ability to effectively manage its tailings output. Traditionally, waste particles less than 2 mm in size are watered down into slurries with around 25% solids by weight and pumped into tailings dams or ponds where they are held. This presents a potentially devastating issue for the surrounding ecosystem, where dam walls can fail or seepage begins to occur, resulting in the release of masses of particles into streams, waterways and expanses of land. Direct results of a spill include extreme changes in water chemistry affecting pH levels and dissolved oxygen. The burial of many bottom-dwelling fauna and further damage to sea life is also seen as finer debris begins to block the gills of local fish. The Carmichael Coal Mine and Rail project aims to minimise this by reducing the amount of water used in its slurries through belt presses and drying cells, achieving a 47% return in recycled water and the ability to dry stack tailings. Tailings are then buried in holding cells lined with clay, which has minimal permeability rates to almost completely eradicate seepage, a solution hugely more environmentally sustainable than current Australian practices.
The southern black-throated finch is a species of bird specifically found in central Queensland. Over the past 15 years, its habitat has been reduced by 80% due to its inability to cope with changing living conditions, due to the urbanisation and mining activity in the region. The proposed site for the Carmichael Coal Project runs directly through one of the last two known habitats of the southern black-throated finch, reducing their already diminished population by a further 50%. The current system in place for resettling endangered species is a theory of offsetting. This requires that a mine purchase land equivalent in size to the area affected by mining. This practice is unacceptable as the finch is highly susceptible to loss when affected by habitual changes.
Carmichael coal mine emits 4.7 billion tons of greenhouse gases over 60 years. These emissions are over 0.5% of the remaining carbon budget. Thus, with every increase of temperature by 2 degrees Celsius, the risk of sea level rise, forest fire, climate change, rainfall change increases significantly. The amount of greenhouse gas emission as a result of burning the thermal coal is environmentally irresponsible. The best way to solve this issue would be opting for alternative sources of energy such as solar, wind, hydro and biofuels.
The Great Barrier Reef Marine Park is one of the world's largest and most spectacular coral reef ecosystems. Investigating the indirect impacts of the Carmichael coal mine on the reef, it is conclusive that the mine should not go ahead. The indirect impacts, such as the expected 4.4 gigatons of CO2 emissions being produced over its 60 to 90 year lifespan, would affect the life of the Great Barrier Reef dramatically. The correlation between the CO2 emissions and the impacts on the reef are absolutely devastating. As the distance between the Carmichael coal mine and Upstart Bay, the river mouth where the pollutants would enter the ocean, is so large, it is unlikely that the mine will have direct impacts on the reef from particulate matter travelling downstream. The Carmichael coal mine's approval should be denied to place emphasis on the sustainability and restoration of the reef for the future generations to be able to appreciate.
While there are innovative technologies emerging from the project in terms of tailings management, the impact of the project on the natural environment in the region is far too irresponsible to be sustainable, and therefore it is our conclusion that the project shouldn't go ahead.